Hi, everybody. It's Jillian. God, it's so bright. It's so bright. Jesus. Let me see. Hold on. Okay. Okay. So this is, some interesting stuff. So the reason why I'm bringing this up, because ever since that major energy shift, when I told you I felt drunk, like I felt drunk that day, when I came back from going to the DMV with my husband and taking care of stuff, and that was a couple weeks ago. And the energy shift, good morning, Robert, good morning, Audrey. Those major frequency energy shifts cause things to become unstable. When things become unstable, it's like your system opened up and it allowed the energy that's rustled up. Now, this is where things can get, people will be like, I don't believe in demonology. I don't believe in orbs or hydra or anything like that. But we're in a plasmic universe, okay? We're in a universe that has liquid, though you can't see liquid because sometimes some places are drier than other places. But when you look through a lens and you can see, especially through the sunlight, you could see things floating around. Some are more intelligent and they have specific directions. Others just kind of lazily float. Others actually have intelligence and they float around. And some are stronger than others. And so we know that the Rosicrucians and the whole New World Order is not only spiritual, political, and all that stuff, and intellectual. And they understand Pandora's box. They understand releasing the demons. And releasing the demons could mean the context of the J world, where you're releasing the things that are torturing you in a way that doesn't cause you harm even in the future. But releasing the demons could also mean releasing people who cannot handle the environmental evolution, the environmental frequencies. Releasing demons could also be causing such a paradigm shift, such a frequency shift, that things that were kind of laying dormant because you were under a specific algorithm, dimension, okay, it gets aggravated, it gets interrupted, and things come up. And then when I felt that day where I felt so drunk, just walking around, I was laughing. It was the weirdest. Oh my God. It was like being possessed for a minute, being possessed for a certain amount of time until my body took on that information. Because any point of impact, you're going to feel stuff. Some people don't survive point of impact. Some people do survive point of impact. So when I survived that point of impact, that point of exposure, when there was that major frequency shift, then my body was going through the process of assimilation. But see, I didn't know it. And this is where I know it's going to get crazy. You're going to be like, she's crazy. But I'm telling you, you really got to feel it to understand. But you got to get off your drugs and your alcohol and all of your oxytocin, praying, meditation shit. But you really... And so I didn't know I was feeling that stuff. And so I was going about my life as usual, but I would feel my heartbeat really fast, like really fast. I would feel jittery. I would feel a little bit anxiety. I would feel hungry. Oh my God, the hunger was so insane. It's like watching the Vampire Diaries and they're talking about the hunger that a vampire has when he is first beginning to become a vampire. Until he controls that hunger, he is out of control. See, and that's where I brought in the allegory of the vampires and the werewolves and the Vampire Diaries, because that's really pertinent. Hollywood knows this. That's why there's so many stories about this. Allegory knows this. Okay, and so that hunger was so like where you have to eat everything. And even last night, I was constantly eating yesterday because I was hungry. Why was I hungry? Because my husband's like, well, I only eat once a day. I don't understand how you eat so much, Jillian. You eat way more than I do. Oh, hell yeah. You weigh 200 pounds. You're 100 pounds more than I weigh. I'm not probably even maybe 40 or 50 pounds because I'm probably like 130, 140. But I need the fat. I need the meat. So I was eating a slab of meat, like meat rounds, whatever, Angus rounds. I was eating cereal. I was eating carrots. I was eating bagel and cream cheese. I was eating, oh my God, I had to keep eating to maintain supporting that energy. Okay, so the hunger, and I'm telling you, some of you will understand where I'm coming from. Some of you understand how the hunger is so intense that you can feel your stomach going in circles, that you have to feed your stomach to absorb that energy. And so that was what I was feeling during this last couple of weeks, was like the wow and the fatigue, just having to be so tired, just so tired, so fucking tired. And I would be in and out of consciousness, and I would be like, God, man, I cannot. And that's where they get the diagnosable conditions. See, when you're dealing with an evolutionary shift, a frequency shift, a type of possession, okay, where then they want to diagnose that energy coming in, energy going out. That's when people take all their medications. That's when people start promoting all their MLMs. That's when people go get diagnosed. And that's where it ends for people. As soon as they mischaracterize the energy that goes in and out of their body, that's the beginning of the end. That's what you call demonology. When you keep trying to quell the demons inside, instead of releasing them in a proper way, people then develop new demons every single time they try to take on a pill, power supplement, detox, a surgery, a tincture, a detox, everything that's in the medical holistic system. Or they try to have some therapist come in and verbalize their demons away, or put their demons under some kind of control. And so instead of saying disease, I'm going to say demons, because now I'm speaking to those that are in that world of the allegory. And that is the religious spiritual world. And that would include Satanists. That would include those that are for Jesus or for Yah, Jehovah. Oh gosh. I mean, I don't know every single religion, but you know where I'm coming from. Okay. And so now I'm speaking to the religious spiritual world, those spiritual world, for those that are like demon hunters, and those that are like, oh, I don't believe in any of that stuff. Well, you have your own religions, whether it's Shintoism, Confucius, Buddhism. I mean, every single religion, belief system, spirituality, star seeds, it's all the same stuff. It's just different words. That's what I said. All religion is the same. You just give it a different word. Now you have a whole new world, another context. Okay? Context, that word was developed for a reason, because that was how people compartmentalized the same thing and developed so many different worlds. And so when you get disenchanted with one world, you have another world to go to, and it has a whole new jargon. And you're like, oh God, this is my people now. This is where I believe in. This is who it is I promote. This is everything that I ever, oh gosh. And so that's where people trade either one addiction for the other, or they trade one religion for another, or they trade one friend for another, or one belief system for another. And it's just a continuous trading of words and beliefs and religions and politics and science. And you're still doing the same thing, but calling it something different. And then you die from that. Because what else are you going to do if you're not actually releasing your demons properly? You're just going to have those demons destroy you. And you're going to allow the system help destroy you along with your demons. Okay? And so when I was going through that process of assimilating to those demons from that frequency shift from a couple weeks ago, then thereafter there was crazy ass storms, tornadoes, back-to-back fucking tornadoes. Then you saw the orbs. That's why I posted that video where I'm just like, I haven't seen orbs like that I've seen them like when I was using my computer to do my Facebook lives. You guys remember that if you've been following me. We're like, oh wow, look at that. Look at that little orb going this way. Look at that little orb going that way. And that makes sense. I mean, there wasn't so many of them, but we knew that the environment was ramping up. We knew that they were turning those engines on and causing those particles to accelerate. What is particle acceleration? It's basically climate engineering, climate control. Just turn on your AC, that's particle acceleration. Turn on your heater, particle acceleration. The temperature of the particle acceleration will then cause crazy storms. Whether it's a cytokine storm inside where you're feeling an immunological response, or it's a tornado tearing up your whole fucking town, which we're going to have some this afternoon. And tonight, 8 hours of going, holy shit, am I going to survive this? So Ohio, prepare yourself. But yeah, particle acceleration is what caused all these demons to come around. So as they kept increasing the acceleration, the orbs came out, but see, that's the thing. I didn't see them so much except for this last time. I watch my videos all the time because I want to hear myself. I'm talking right now, I hear myself, but I want to hear myself again to see if I caught anything that I can also derive another revelation, another evolution, right? But this last time, I didn't see any orbs. But that one video where I'm just like, holy shit, look at these orbs. They're just having fun. It's like I was being swarmed, like a swarm of insects. And so those orbs are energy. Those orbs are energy. They're intelligence. You can call it disease. You can call it demons. You can call them angels. Call them whatever the hell you want. I mean, who determines what's a demon or an angel? But that's what's causing your disease. Those things get inside your body, right? And then they metastasize. And then people don't know what to do with that energy, and they get it diagnosed. And then they're on the train of the holistic train, the allopathic train, which is basically traditional medicine. They're on the train of diagnosing themselves. They're on the train of trying to quell that energy. They have a specific look about them after they've been exposed. I mean, I've looked at myself this last couple of days after all these different frequency shifts and tornadoes and storms. And I do look different. Every so often I look different. I see my face changing almost every day, every week. It's so weird. I mean, you've seen it. I mean, you're like, wow, she looks weird today. She looks really relatively calm today. And she looks a little bit excited today. And so what I did was, because I'm thinking like, since I was fighting, or not fighting, I don't say fighting, I gotta stop using the word fighting, but I was in the process of assimilating to that frequency shift of all these little demons of Pandora's box being released, exposed, and released, and I'm taking it in and assimilating to it. That coffee just put me over the edge. That's why I had to get off the Bustelo, because I always feel like I was getting cannibalized on the inside, and I had to force myself to sleep so I can freaking just survive this. But this weekend, I was telling my husband, Jason, I feel like I've been fighting something or assimilating something. I feel like I was sick, but it all came to a head where I felt like I just was like drained, and felt like I just got over something, but not really realizing I was actually dealing with something. Okay? Because since this environment is so erratic, and we know about these frequency shifts, all of us have been dealing with it. I just figured it was just another, continuous daily frequency shift that I got to deal with. But no, I was dealing with something that came from that feeling, that drunk feeling of when the frequency really shifted, and then you saw. Now, this is where correlation can equal causation. This is where you can see the evidence of these crazy frequency shifts. When the storms become that much more aggressive. When you have Torcon conditions that have ratings, that now we have a new world called, oh, look, this map with 2, 3, 1, 5, 9. What is that? That's tornado conditions. When you have someone like Ryan Hall, y'all, is now going on YouTube live for 12 hours, making sure that people are being warned to go get into a basement because there's this freaking cell coming in. It's going to take you out. Fatalities. He's trying to have 0 fatalities for every single one of these storm systems that come through. That's the new world now. That's the new world you're dealing with. And so, yeah, when you feel an aggressive pain, yeah, you're dealing with a frequency shift. The demons inside are being rustled up and brought to the surface, and people are being tortured by them, or they're taking on new demons because, yeah, the medical holistic system and all their antibiotics and surgeries are developing new demons. They're now going to be at war with the demons you have inside. And it is not only a war out there, as you see just with all the police car chases and all that stuff, and all the different religions and politics and science dogmas. Then you have a war with yourself and with all these little spirits, these little orbs. Do I see any orbs coming around? I mean, I'm just looking at my camera right now. But yeah, I mean, and then yet people are being swarmed. So imagine if someone never did a Facebook Live and they do a Facebook Live and they record themselves talking about stuff. Could you be able to detect if they were in some kind of room like this where it's like dark walls and dark sweater? Could they detect orbs? Could they detect themselves being swarmed by the Pandora's box being opened? And you'd have to do a Facebook Live or record yourself every single day to see that, and then measure how you feel and what you're thinking. And so, yeah, I mean, oh my gosh, it's crazy to make that connection when you've seen the activity on the camera. when you've seen the activity, when you hadn't seen that kind of activity in a long time, and that kind of aggressive, like exponential. I mean, they were, those little orbs around me the other day was insane. And then they disappeared. But see, I remember hearing a noise where a noise that flipped one of the drawer handles, because it was like, yeah, it was a handle that's metal on metal. Okay. And something flipped it and just made that noise. And I'm just like, what the hell? And I'm just saying, okay, get the fuck out of my house, whoever you are, whatever you are. And then when I'm releasing my own demons, I'm telling my body biophysically, get the fuck, get orbs or demons, get the hell out of my body. And so that's when I blow my nose. Like, I've been blowing my nose where my husband's like, what the hell? And it was like a couple years ago where I was just so afflicted, where I had all the hives and I was blowing my nose, feeling like my head was full, everything was full. Well, it was the kind of the same thing, but I trained my system to be open. Now, when demons come inside of me, or that sounds kind of weird, but when demons make their way inside of me and they metastasize, try to take over, and I'm blowing my nose, I don't have that feelings of like a continuous fullness and feeling like I'm sick. Yeah, I could feel it come up. I could feel the growth happen. And then what I do, I'm blowing my nose. I have a napkin or something and I'm blowing my nose and pooping. Sometimes I actually had to go in the shower twice in a day because I was like, holy crap, I'm feeling like I'm being weighed down by all of this new growth that's going on inside. And so I'm releasing demons even in the middle of the day sometimes. And it's just crazy. And like, what the hell does that mean? Well, I have to poop or release and open up my system to release and release. And so that's why people won't get this, because they're so afraid of understanding their whole alimentary canal, because they've been closed up, like seriously closed up. And they're full of not only shit, but they're full of demons that are in conflict with each other. And so ever since I felt drunk that day, I was definitely assimilating to the orbs that made its way into my system, causing to behave a certain way and feel stuff. And again, I had so much energy inside that even coffee was causing me to go through an overload. And so I'm back. I'm now taking a little bit less of that Cafe Bustelo, but instead of doing 3 scoops to 1, bottle of water, which is those small bottles of water, I'm doing like 2 scoops with the whipped cream, a bunch of whipped cream. So I'm going to see if that's going to make me feel like over the top again, or if it was definitely that exacerbating all of the demon energy inside of me during that week of going through that assimilation process. Because that's what disease is. It's an assimilation process. If I were to actually go to that day and even thereafter, and with me blow my nose, they'd be like, nothing is wrong with you. And if I say, well, I have this pain here in my stomach and I feel so hungry and I'm so tired and I'm so this, and they would diagnose me. They'd find a way to diagnose me. They would. And they would give me a pill for it or something like that. See, you determine the diagnosis and how the system will develop more demons, because you put yourself in the system because you don't like pain. And I'm going to say that broadly, that people that don't understand pain or energy inside their body and coming out of their body, coming in their body and coming out of their body, they will find a way to destroy themselves and be cured, basically a walking zombie until they're dead. Okay? And so that's probably why I felt really over the top drinking that Cafe Bustelo, because that was a lot of energy. Now I'm going to see with this today, after I felt that finality this weekend, that I just got over something, not knowing I was getting through something, and I feel calmer. I'm going to see with just even a little bit less of that coffee with the whipped cream, because it's good. It's so good. I look forward to my coffee. But then I did buy more of the Vietnamese coffee because I really like that flavor. Okay. And so I had so much energy inside that even coffee was causing me to go through an overload. That's when you saw the orbs. Orbs. They are the demons that you can see in air plasma. Like when you see the sunbeams coming through and you see all these little dust particles. Okay, yeah, there's dander and dust and they're so light that they're floating, but there's also intelligent energy. But what's in the dust and the dander is still intelligent energy. Just some are more lazy than others. Some are more energetic and they actually zip around like you saw in the other transmission. Okay? I mean, look at people in your society. Some are more lazier. I don't say lazy, but less energetic than other people. Okay? And so some people are like zipping around like they're ADHD, ADD, and others are like just calm, going through the motions of whatever it is. And so that's no different than the dust particles or no different than people in your society. Okay? And again, the whole particle acceleration, when they're turning up the engines, they're turning it up to where then your particles inside get turned up. And that's where the pain starts and begins, because people don't survive that. Like you saw that TikTok video of somebody in a big hangar somewhere in the middle, of wherever, and there's a tornado going through. You saw how fast those winds were blowing. Like you saw, because there was particles, those were hydration, that was rain that was being blown so hard it looked like it was going sideways. And the guy inside was like, holy shit, and the doors were like almost closing. And so that'll fuck, if you go out there, that'll fuck you up, because you're getting pelted by fast moving energy, which is like water droplets. It feels like needles. When I was in the back of a bike that was so fast, way back when I was in Mississippi, and we were going through some parts of northern Louisiana, and it was raining, it felt like needles being pierced through me. And of course, when I was in California in the back of a bike and it was raining really hard, it felt like needles, because you're going fast and the rain is hitting you so hard, it feels like needles. And so, when you're going out in the middle of a tornado, you're getting pelted by needle-like energy. And imagine if it was hail or even just debris, but then also inside your body, you're going through a cytokine storm. Everything is getting affected. That's the people who are arthritic feel stuff when the barometric pressure drops. They're like, oh, my appendix pains every time it rains. Shel Silverstein. And so, orbs, they are the demons that you can see in air plasma, but it must be through a lens that can pick up ambient energy and other types of energy. Not all demons are bad, which is why you have the term angel. Demons and angels and demons. See, you saw what Tom Hanks, he was in that movie Angels and Demons. It's all based, in the Catholic Church and the religions. The Catholic Church understands this. The Rosicrucians as a whole understand this. Catholic Church is part of the whole Gnostic Christianity. And then you have all the offshoots. See, people that are like Yah, that believe in Yah and the Hebrews and all that. And then you have the Jehovah's, and you have the Christians, and you have your regular born again Christians. It's all part of the Gnostics. It really is when you think about it, because they're all about casting out demons and saying this person is a demon and their lifestyle is a demon. And, and then this is an angel way of doing stuff. This is angelic. Who determines who's a demon and who's an angel? And then that's why I posted that picture of a can of Budweiser with the rainbows, because someone's going to say that whoever it is, that's a demon. That's why we got to get away from us determining what lifestyle is bad or good or whatever, and let the justice system decide in your community. You belong, you like America, or you like certain parts of America, and you don't want to leave your little area because it's rather conservative. Because if you go somewhere over here, it's a bit more liberal. Then stay in your conservative area if you don't like the liberal way of doing stuff. But if the liberal way is being acted upon in your area in a public venue and it's okay by the law, then just leave it alone. It's not for you to tie or say that it's a demon or it's an angel or whatever. It's people's lifestyles. Okay, let the law determine what is safe and what is not safe, what is good and what is bad. And even then, why we even judge? Just take care of yourself. Okay? And so, so I was kind of laughing because I was thinking, like, you know what? I see a lot of people, I'm in more of a conservative lifestyle, surroundings. People that I hang out with are more conservative than not. A lot of them, we just say like they're, I won't say hillbilly, but I would say redneck. There's so much pejorative terms, but a little bit more Republican conservative. So it was funny to me seeing my husband drink a Budweiser with rainbows. He wouldn't do it. He wouldn't drink a Budweiser with rainbows. Okay, not saying that he is like phobic like that, but that's just, there is a specific way that people want to portray. People have tolerances, but they just don't want the sexuality just being advertised on their cans of beer. And I understand that. Okay, but I mean, that's a hard thing. It's almost like if your opinion about the cans of beer says in what you hold deep inside, what your thoughts and your intolerances. I found it funny because I could see a bunch of Southern folk being like, not all Southern folk. I mean, everyone drinks Budweiser, but there's certain people that have a less tolerance of having displays of that kind of sexual orientation being put on their on their everyday stuff or every weekend stuff. So, but again, that's where people are hunting demons and saying, oh, that's bad, that's good. I don't really care. And even back when I was on Dr. Phil, people are like, oh, Jillian's HOMOPHOBIC. No, I was just saying that, yeah, a man, woman make a baby, but a man could be a woman that wants to be transgender. And a woman could be a man that is a transgender. So only a man and woman can make a baby. So I was actually right. Now, what we determine what is man and woman, then that had to go another layer. But no one asked me that. I just said a man and woman make a baby based upon our social constructs. But again, you can have a man that has woman parts, okay, and you can have a woman that has man parts, and it's however they identify with. So I was never HOMOPHOBIC, but that's how the system wanted to characterize me back then, so they can cause more of the controversy and make me hated because I was waking up the demons within people because of the salt and the water. But I have never been HOMOPHOBI. I mean, I've had very good friends back in the past be part of the LGBT community. But man, I was so mischaracterized back then. Holy shit, I was so mischaracterized. But what could I say? I didn't know how to explain where I was coming from. And it was all research, yes. And it didn't come out correct in the way that would explain, because now everything is just it's so gray. Everything is gray now. There is really no black and white anymore when you think about it. Everything is gray, and how to articulate back then, it was difficult. But today, yeah, we have people who identify as man, who identify as woman, she, her, him, yeah, him, whatever, he, him, her, she, and then they, and then them. And that's fine. They, them, she, her, him, well, who cares? But if people want to have that as a label, that's on them. It's not for me to decide if that's good, bad, or wrong. It is what it is. If you want to differentiate yourself and set yourself apart because of whatever reason, do that. But people are going to have their thing. And even men and women, everyone that sets themselves apart, whether it's culturally, gender, religion, politics, science, you will expect discrimination on every end. When you stop differentiating yourself and you stop setting yourself apart and you stop trying to be special, and that includes men and women, traditional men and women, okay, then you're going to expect everyone and their mother to say whatever the hell they want, and you can't be mad at it. But again, yes, since we're coming upon where we must be able to tolerate another lifestyle and belief system, it's got to be, the symbols have to be put out there. I mean, that's why I put the symbol on my Jilly Juice page with that heart and the rainbow that had looked like BLM and also the LGBTQ, because I know I've been mischaracterized. And so I have to put it on there just to say, okay, I'm not what people think I am, because they wanted to demonize me for salt and water, and the system wanted to get you scared and think that I was tied to someone's passing away when they were in hospice, when they've been in the system for fucking years, taking everything under the sun, and then they did the Jilly's last hurrah, and they happened to pass away, and they were set to pass away anyways, and there's so many factors, and so that's why I was painted as a fucking demon around that type of lifestyle. And so, and of course, the way Dr. Phil posed the questions and what I put out there probably sounded like whatever it sounded like, but no, there was never any type of homophobic inference, because you need a sperm and you need an egg, and then also in our traditional way, but then nowadays you can actually develop babies from two males, because when you think about it, all you do is taking DNA from two males or two females, or a female and a male, whatever it is, and that DNA can then turn into a baby. Somehow they figured out how to develop a child from two males. And I didn't even read the science behind that. But that's when you're taking a probiotic and an antibiotic, which is just a positive and negative, put them together, you have an offspring, because there's a chemical reaction. There's an offspring of another mutation of a virus. So let's take viruses into play. You put a virus that's foreign into a person that is whatever, and they have a chemical reaction, an immunological response. That's a birth. That's a growth. And so when you think about cancer, disease, and chronic illness is an offspring of that chemical reaction. And I felt a frequency change. And that's why you have so many different vaccines, because there's so many different offspring from all of those chemical reactions of people intermingling with each other. And so that's why you have to get boosters if you have if you're immunocompromised and you have a weak immune system. And so the system is trying to help people out, but people are already at deficit anyways. It's not going to matter what you do, right? So orbs, that's when you saw the orbs, right? They're the demons that you can see in air plasma, but it must be through a lens that can pick up ambient energy and other types of energy. Not all demons are bad, which is why you have the term angel, demons and angels. Who determines who's an angel and who's a demon? The justice system. And then I put demonology, that was from the starting of where I was going. The DSM, and the medical system diagnose sin, S-I-N, and then S-Y-N. That's why you have to understand language and words, how they're being used. And the root word and the predicate and the and all that stuff. I forget what you call that, but there's root words, and then there's words that like S-Y-N are always the starting of something. And so it tells you this is the base this is the base element, and then this is the chemicals, that different chemicals, which are different letters and different words that develop a different reaction, a different meaning, a different world. And that's all like word chemistry. You have to understand chemistry and elements and the periodic tables, and then also word chemistry, which is the same thing. And you break apart words. You break them up, you look at their meanings based upon like S-Y-N, S-I-N. It can tell you, what's a prefix or a suffix. And then also with chemicals and food and compounds. And you break everything down to its pre-digested state, right? When something's digested, it's either you or it's your shit. So when you break everything down to a pre-digested state, you break apart all the words, the symbols, the letters, the elements, the compounds, the energy, and all that. And then now you have just a bunch of recipe. Or you have a recipe. You have different factors of a recipe. I guess that's what you call it. Yeah. Okay? But people don't break stuff down. They just take things as they are and make assumptions. That's why we are in such a clusterfuck, because people don't know how to break words down. They don't know how to break chemistry down. They don't know how to break anything down. They were never taught to break shit down. They were just taught, here's the outcome. This is what we apply the meaning to this outcome, and that's it. That's a very superficial, not very deep way of looking at the world. When you take everyone for face value, and you don't break stuff down or understand it, or you're believing what somebody else is saying, and you don't really bother to understand the derivative of it, you don't bother to understand the breakdown of it, why it became this. People just believe shit because that's all they know how to do, is just believe shit or not believe shit. That's it. That's why we're in a clusterfuck. That's why we're in a great reset, because people don't bother to think or break shit down. Or Google anything. They have to ask somebody, oh yeah, what do you do for this? What do you do for that? Or what does this mean? What does that mean? Well, Google that shit. Look it up in the dictionary, which is why I don't like answering questions. And so S-Y-N, S-I-N equals demons. And so the medical holistic system diagnosed sin, S-Y-N and S-I-N, which in turn then triggers the medical system, holistic system, and the big pharma to develop different demons to fight demons they want to fight. Then the race to find for the most formidable demon that won't kill you right off the bat to quell your aggressive demons inside, because you don't want to feel the energy of evolution or rebuilding. So instead of teaching you how to release the demons properly. And so I said it was fucking evil, yes, because you're seeing people go under the knife and getting butchered because they can't handle their demons. But sometimes it's necessary, I guess. Well, yeah. But some people won't be able to survive the therapies or the surgeries. Some do, which is, of course, why they have to assess. That's why the doctors assess your credit worthiness. Can you handle this loan that they're giving you? Which is basically a surgery, a pill, powder, supplement, detox, a therapy. So I know there's a purpose for it, which is surgery and all that stuff. Some people's demons need to be cut out, but when you do that, more demons get developed. You might find relief, but there's a price to be paid for that kind of relief. It's with your life. Okay, so you may have a certain amount of of like mobility and feeling peaceful, or feel like you have a solution to your problem. But that will only last so long. Remember, cures are only temporary, and getting a surgery is like a cure. Okay? And so, but there's a price to be paid for that kind of relief. It's with your life, or you must understand pain of releasing the demons and rebuilding with all food, and not use food as medicine. And so you can't violate the demon laws without paying the price for it, and it's the person who pays, not the system. The system will just keep taking your resources until there's nothing left. And then you're left in hospice wondering where the hell it all went. Well, go look. If your body parts are all over the fucking universe. Everybody has a piece of you. Everybody. Even your friends, your family, the medical system, science, they have a piece of you when you end up in hospice. All right? And so you can't violate the demon laws without paying the price for it. And it's a person who pays, not the system. And your body doesn't want to be invaded like that. But there is a point for some people when the demons must be cut out and replaced. And that's why they put you under anesthesia, because your body is screaming. That's what pain is when someone is cutting into you and there is no pain or anesthesia. It's your body screaming. That should tell you you shouldn't be doing that, but people don't want to listen to their body. They're listening to somebody else telling them how to do something with their body. So that's why they put you to sleep, so you don't remember anything. You're under a spell. Anesthesia is like a spell. And some people wake up during anesthesia while they're getting cut into, and they can't do anything. They can't move. They can't do nothing, but they feel every single thing. That's the scariest part of going under the knife and under anesthesia. It doesn't always work. But do you hear about that? No, because that would be too scary. And so, but there is a point for some people, when the demon must be cut out and replaced. So either you cut out that demon and you replace it with a transplant, implant, or it just gets cut out altogether and the body is like in shock that you did that to it, and then your body tries to quickly repair but not really, and so now you have a limping person, limping body that has been maimed. And that's when you look at out there and you look at a limping dog, a limping animal, a limping whatever, that's like your body going like, what the fuck did you do to me? That's trauma. That's the trauma like no other. That's why I really don't like the surgical system, but I can't tell that for somebody else. But I'll tell you my feelings about it. And so, yeah, when you're taking in transplants, implants, yeah, you're taking on another demon. And it's formidable because now they're trapped inside. Now you're dependent upon that big, huge implant or transplant. And you have to lower your immune system so your body doesn't try to purge it out. So then now you are a slave to the system. When you have to lower your immune system, you have to almost disable your immune system from working. So your body doesn't try to purge it out and go through the pain again. That's the scary part of giving your kids to the system so early on. But then more demons will be replaced from that. They could be kinder and gentler until they get crossed. When another round of demons get developed after a therapy, will you survive the energy? Oh yeah, people can be so kind to you and be like, oh, you're so sweet, you're so this, and they love you until you cross them. Once you cross someone that's so kind and so gentle, it is so opposite. It is so formidable. So don't let someone being so kind and so gentle to you mean that they're such a peaceful person, because let me tell you, the other side of it is deadly, like extremely deadly. That's how they pull you into whatever is all their kindness and gentleness, okay? All right, so medicating demons can only go so far. Herbalizing demons just makes them more aggressive later. Oh, yeah. You know, how much oxytocin are you going to try to develop when your body is being depleted, when your whole body is being converted to oxytocin so you don't feel pain because of the herbs? And it could be cannabis or anything else out there that people are taking so they can feel something or try to anesthetize their pain. Talking to other people's demons must be done by a professional when you're verbally trying to cast out someone else's demons. And that's the psychology world. That's the psychotherapy world. Oh, let me tell you, when my mom bought me that Ouija board, now I'm 50 years old, basically, and I look back on that, I'm like, what the fuck was she And I can only imagine what she was trying to do. Okay? And so talking to other people's demons, and it must be done by a professional, whether it's a psychiatrist, psychotherapist, social therapist. When you're verbally trying to cast out someone else's demons or control them. And that could also develop more demons because you woke up the demons revisiting trauma. And that's the same thing with all the massage therapists. When you're waking up people's demons and you don't know if you wake up with someone's blood clot and they die from that blood clot being released because someone was manipulating their energy chakras. That's the thing. Be careful being any kind of health and wellness massage therapist. I don't care what it is. You could be releasing demons, people, that they don't survive that energy because it was under a specific anesthetization. No different than the J world. We're waking up demons. And we said that in the files way back then. This is what you could experience. No different than when you read the back of the bottle. You could be waking up demons that you're not prepared to deal with or know how to support. But we were eating food and people were surviving. I mean, shit, when you go on Dr. Phil under that kind of duress and you're saying, oh, Jillian hurt me, and then you're making it more exaggerated by coming in with a wheelchair. Holy crap. They made sure they want to make me look like a fucking demon in the snake pit. But whatever, that's fine. But people survive going through some of the demons waking up. They just weren't prepared to deal with it. But we said you're going to feel shit. You're supposed to. You know where I got it from? Because when the holistic people were detoxing, going through their Herxheimer syndrome, Herxing, they're releasing, but they're not supporting it correctly because they're all fucking starving. But that was where I understood that you had to feel something in order to get to another level. But then we learned the other side of it. You had to feed it with all food. You couldn't just say, oh yeah, meat, milk, and cheese and eggs and everything else. It's so bad for you. I mean, we had chicken, we had fish, we had eggs. It wasn't like we took every food off the table, but we were still emulating and mirroring the holistic allopathic, taking food away. But people, at that time when it was a slower frequency, they were either really obese, so that wasn't bad. Okay? And so it wasn't bad, but those that were already skinny, well, they couldn't afford to have all that food being, saying, okay, you can't eat it. They had to eat food. Okay, so that's why I got such a pushback and such a, oh my God. Because some people were fucking starving already. But those that were obese, they found some relief and they found a bunch of stuff. People who were already starving, they were already fucked anyway. So it didn't matter it wouldn't matter if I did it or somebody else did it, they would be screwed. And that's why we couldn't advertise as a cure, because it's not a cure. And so yeah, the J juice can help you wake up the demons, but you got to know how to support it. That's why we're saying you have to eat all food in the food supply. The evolution of the JJ was for a reason. If you can't evolve with me, then you don't belong in this world. You belong in the medical world. And don't pretend that you're against the medical system. Don't pretend that you're all about, oh yeah, Jill's great, whatever, and all this other stuff. When you don't want to feel the demons and support it with all food. Don't pretend that you understand where I'm coming from. But I want to put my opinion out there, even though it doesn't mean anything, because it really doesn't. It's just an opinion, right? Because some people's demons are so strong and they can't get rid of it. But if that's the case, it's not going to matter. Nothing will help you. If your demons are that fucking strong where even you don't even want to do the J world at all because you're so afraid of what it might do, nothing will help you except help you take you down out there in the world. Okay? And so either you have the strength and you can support the demons being released and then you building up yourself, or you're just going to deteriorate out there and someone's going to help you take your resources on your way out the door. So if you can't do the J world, it's not going to matter. Nothing will help you anything about it. You will have to resign yourself to just live out your life for however long it is. And so your religion and your religion hunting demons. This is where a lot of people out there don't say that they're not hunters, don't say that they're hunting demons, but you can see how they have demonized all the different holidays, how they've demonized every single where they don't celebrate a holiday or they demonize it and have a judgment call on it. And no different than saying someone's going to go to hell if they do this, this, and that. Oh yeah, we've seen so many religions that don't necessarily say, oh, you're going to go to hell, but they'll say, oh yeah, you're satanic if you celebrate Easter. You're satanic if you celebrate Halloween. You're satanic. Shit, the whole fucking society is satanic because it's all a death religion. Every single religion out there, I don't care what it is, it's a death religion. Has anyone ever thought about actual immortality and facing the pain, understanding, balancing entropy and negentropy? No. It took me to figure out, oh shit, the only way for you to reverse the aging process, if you actually feel the fucking pain, release them, understand your alimentary canal, your sphincter and all that stuff, and eat all food in the food supply, and get out of the wars that are being given to you by politics, religion, and science. Okay? And do you see anyone who has a major religion say, okay, I'm going to give up being a Jehovah, I'm going to give up being a Yah person, I'm going to give up being a Christian, I'm going to give up being a Jewish person, I'm going to give up, worshiping Allah or anything like that? Yeah, I don't see that at all. I don't see that. And so if every religion out there is based upon the death culture, where do you think that's going to end up for some people? Because remember, all politics, religion, and science dogmas have to do with get-togethers, have to do with mitigating pain, have to do with taking aspects of certain things that fit your agenda and say, oh yeah, I understand you, Jillian. No, you fucking don't, but I understand you, Jillian. Oh, I get it. I learned so much from you, but they really don't. Because if you did, I'll tell you, your lifestyle, your belief systems would be so drastically different than what you are today. But some people have kids, and they have a whole community that they have to get validation from. There's no way they're going to understand where I'm coming from. They're not going to give up their religion or their politics or their scientific dogmas because they're so invested in it. It has given them their lifestyle, their belief system, the social capital. It's paying for their house. So until you say, okay, I'll take a pay cut, give up all my worldly wealth and not be a pauper, not be starving, but cut down your lifestyle and belief systems, cut down your friendships and your associations and all, And that's where people get stuck. They won't. How can they survive that? They can't. They're in a death culture. And the death culture is so attractive. So attractive. And so your religion hunting demons. Some religions know this, but they treat people differently and are discriminatory and then are destructive. Their religion of finding demons is a demon itself, hunting people who don't fit in within a paradigm. And that's those who are homophobic. That's those who are phobic of anyone different, who are racist, who are ageist, who all that. Anyone that is discriminatory against anyone, a person, place, or thing, an idea, that's a demon into itself. That's a major fucking demon. Major demon. Someone who against the government, that's their demon screaming. And so, hunting people who don't fit in with a paradigm is a type of demonology. It's not your job to say that someone else's demons is worse than somebody else's. That's the job of the justice system. Did your demons break any man-made laws? The devil made me do it can only go so far. If you can't control your demons, somebody else will, and you won't survive. And so if you can't control your demons and you check yourself into the medical holistic system, you're not going to survive that system. You'll get addicted. You'll get so addicted that you won't have what it takes to finally come back from all the resources that are taken from your body, mind, and spirit in your bank account. And so maybe this is why some religions say everyone is a sinner. Some people sin differently than others. So what do you sin, Jillian? What's your sin? Well, I'm in a marriage, but having sex without having a baby, is that a sin? It's a sin in some people's eyes. Even though I'm married, but if I'm having sex and I'm not actually planning to have a baby, then that's a sin in some people's eyes. Okay, so then you're like, wow, where do we draw the line as far as who's a sinner and who's not, right? And so this is a certain sense in the air these days. There's a certain synchronicity in the air these days. from John Oakes. Thank you, John. That makes sense. And so maybe this is why some religions say everyone is a sinner. Some people sin differently than others. So which group of demons should be revered? Now we're getting to the... When the system has a collection of laws and you violate those laws, the system has a right to put your demons through their programs, which is why criminals like, remember Ozark, that Netflix show, and Jason Bateman, you know, he's a criminal and he's working for the Mexican cartels, and then the FBI wanted to use him to understand how to infiltrate other criminals who have the same capacity, the genius of doing things illegally. And so, yeah, if you don't want the system, if you don't want to be pigeonholed and cornered, as soon as you break the laws of your society, and either you're going to go to jail because you're not useful to the government or anyone else, but if you broke the law and everyone knows it, and you cut a deal with the government, with the FBI, CIA, MI6, MI5, you are now going to be used as a fucking tool. Now, who am I referring to right now? Well, I'm looking at this thing with Trump. What's going on with Trump? He will be used as a tool. He broke the law. Why didn't he get his hands put behind his back and mugshot and sit in a jail? Because he'll be used as a tool. That's the crazy thing about breaking the law. They'll let you break the law for so long, for only so long. And yeah, they're getting money because, yeah, you know, maybe you're doing backroom deals and someone's giving you money and giving you capital and you're building a society like, you know, the Trumps did as far as real estate. And probably cut corners and fell into his addictions and his desires. Beautiful women, definitely hard to resist. Stormy Daniels, gorgeous woman, gorgeous woman. I don't blame him for wanting to partake if he has the capacity to. That's when you have so much wealth and money and power, someone's going to use that against you. And then you start breaking the law and think that you're above the law. Oh, here we go. Now you're going to be used as a tool. That's why I cleaned up my shit really quickly. And I'm thinking, oh shit, I am violating laws here, FTC laws and claiming this and claiming that. I had to really understand. Then I really understood the system was actually correct. This is not a cure. You can't claim these things because there's no guarantee. So I cleaned up my act because I understand, oh shit, and I'm not trying to break the law. I'm not trying to do anything nefarious. I'm not trying to do anything like that. I'm trying to actually understand the world that I live in and make it better for myself as well as the world around me. But when someone is so like full of demons and they think they're above the law and they do break countless laws, and they're also in politics, and they've been recorded with different women and different people and associated with different people like Epstein and Maxwell, now they'll be used as a tool to attract those that are of like mind. And you're like, wow, that's really harsh, Jillian. Well, intolerance is intolerance. I don't care what you call it. I don't care if you call it a Republican or Democrat, you know, any kind of category. Intolerance is intolerance. And so when you praise someone who's already has exhibited intolerance and lack of control of their own hormones and desires, and you praise them and they're now around to the public and people are attracted to him. And I was too on some level a couple of years ago. And then I pulled back on, holy shit, what am I doing? This is, oh my God. Now you're going to see what the system is doing. They're drawing out why they're doing what they're doing. Because there's so much intolerance in our society, whether it's intolerance to new information, intolerance to a lifestyle, belief system. Intolerance is intolerance, okay? And so if you've broken the law and you're influential, oh, the system will use you. Oh, they will use you. And you're seeing it's in your face. They're telling you with these shows, with these series on Netflix and movies, cutting deals with the devil, right? I mean, that's another term. You cut the deal with the devil and you sign on the dotted line, contract. Yeah. So don't break the law unless you want to be used as a fucking tool or just be thrown into the tank with everybody else to fight it out like gladiators. So when the system has a collection of laws and you violate those laws, the system, Hammurabi, remember Hammurabi? Has a right to put your demons through their programs. Not all demon criminals go to jail. Some are used as a tool for this system. If you don't want to be used as a tool for the system, don't break the law, because when you're used as a tool, you can't win. Now you are enslaved. And some people are enslaved to their image, to the trappings of wealth. And so this were the Georgia Guidestones, where, you know, what was that with the Georgia Guidestones in the West? Let me see. The Georgia Guidestones. There is one tenet of the Georgia Guidestones that talks about staying out of other people's wars, which is mind your own business. Let all nations, number 6, let all nations rule internally, resolving external disputes in a world court. Okay? So the reason why I pulled out of Afghanistan is that was a 20-year justification because of 9/11, but that was a distraction when you think about it, as the system was building up their infrastructure for now 2019, 2020, and thereafter, and climate change. Okay? Let's just call a spade a spade. That's what it was. 20 years of a distraction and of seeing if they can even convert. But I don't think they tried their best. And even if they did try their best, was it really the right thing to do? Maybe it wasn't meant to be the right thing. Maybe it was meant to just another exercise of obvious futility to go and try to convert a people. Try to save someone who hasn't even saved themselves. That's what I'm saying. You can't save other people. I don't care who they are. They have to save themselves. And so part of the Georgia Guidestones is protect people and nations with fair laws and just courts, and then let all nations rule internally, resolving external disputes in a world court. And of course, avoid petty laws and useless officials, balance personal rights with social duties, prize truth, beauty, love, seeking harmony with the infinite, be not a cancer on this earth, leave room for nature, maintain humanity under 500 million in perpetual balance with nature, guide reproduction carefully, improving fitness and diversity, unite humanity with a living new language, that's called Google, because it can translate all your different languages to each other, rule passion, faith, tradition, and all things with tempered reason. Don't become an extremist and a radicalized. And you see the activists all over Facebook radicalized behind their whatever it is that they're arguing about. And then you see everything that I just said. So the Georgia Guidestones is exactly correct in what's going on right now. The West used to want to go and impose their ways of civilizing all humans in other countries. Now we have stopped doing that, which is why we pulled out of Afghanistan. That was only supposed to last for so long. Now it will be up to the people to figure out how to free themselves from their captors. Okay, like the Taliban. I was listening to a video last night, YouTube, of the richest rogue gangs. And one of them was the Taliban, the Mafia. I forget all the other ones. But that was the first one that came up, was the Taliban. And I'm like, wow. Yeah, we had to leave Afghanistan for the Taliban because there'd be a continuous fight, just like Vietnam. It would be no win. There's no win. The Afghanistan was another Vietnam. And then we brought in the refugees, the people that were helping the Americans. We brought them over here. Some were left behind. But, I mean, they're like, oh, Biden didn't leave correctly. Well, there's no way to leave something that you shouldn't have been in to begin with. But that's political, right? Sometimes your captors are the demons within you, running you. Sometimes your captors are denying you education, denying you freedom to wear the clothes you want to. That's over there in Afghanistan. When women and girls have to wear burqas and they're slaves to the men. And they're being denied education. But you can't go and try to save them. They're going to have to save themselves. Or find a way to escape. If they can. Sometimes your captors are making you do things against your will. If you're a child, that will be left up for the system of governance and laws and the parents to figure out what a child must go through to develop themselves in a civilized society. And that's in the West. Okay, so yeah, you have to go to school. You can't be truant as a child in the West. If you haven't been actually enslaved, if you haven't been under that kind of duress like out there in Afghanistan, you'll think recommendations for therapies and masks are a signature of enslavement, right? See, that's when you know people in the West have been so privileged, entitled, that, oh, a recommendation for a therapy or a recommendation for a mask is like enslavement. Oh, gee. Yeah, put you in Afghanistan for a minute as a woman. You'll see what enslavement's like. Free people don't blame anyone. This is where I get with the whole blame game. That's how fucked up the West is, which is why we're in a great reset. It sucks for women and children who are under that kind of duress over there in Afghanistan, especially women and girls, but you can't save people. They have to save themselves, or they have to destroy themselves. You all have the freedom to redirect whatever trajectory you've been on for the last 6,000 years. Slaves blame other people for their own conditions. That's the nature of slavery. Slaves hunt for demons, because even those who enslave someone are a slave themselves, because they're a slave to something to warrant them having a slave to begin with. Why would you have a slave, regardless, if you weren't having to get something done because you couldn't do it yourself and you had to meet certain obligations because you had no choice? So if you have no choice and you have to go and hurt somebody and enslave them into your lifestyle, belief system, and whatever else, it means you're at a deficit. You're a slave yourself. So even slaves, even captors, are slaves themselves because they're a slave to the money. They're a slave to the trappings of wealth. They're a slave to someone who is dependent upon those slaves' output and input. And so slaves hunt for demons, and they try to force their way to cast out what they perceive as demons by trying to convert you. Oh gosh, so many people wanted to convert me out of the JJ world, want me to go and retract everything I've said to whatever. So many slaves out there, and you can call them demons too, but oh yeah, slaves will try to convert you. Oh, they will try to convert you, and they have no boundaries. Slaves don't have any boundaries. That's why they have captors, to keep them in line, because they don't have any self-control, impulse control. Slaves blame the government for their personal position, especially in the West. You are a slave by choice, especially in the West, because you allow the demons within you to enslave you. You allowed your hormones to take over, making you ripe for manipulation. Oh, I'm going to be rich someday. I've seen people that have been through so many different MLMs. They were part of this MLM, that MLM, another MLM. What is it? Multi-level marketing. They're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna be around all these millionaire people. That's how you survive. You be around millionaires, and when you're around millionaires, you'll become a millionaire yourself. That's slave mentality. You want your desires, your addictions. You are a slave to them. The demons within. And so in the West, you're a slave by choice, because you cannot control your impulses, your desires. You feel like you have to get rich. You have to get to the latest thing. You have an image to maintain. And then also trying to save the world. I mean, it's nice that Ryan Hall, y'all, he's on there 12 hours at a time, because you can't do anything more than 12 hours or those videos don't get saved. And he has the body, mind, and spirit to do that, to help people. But at some point, people are going to have to figure it out for themselves. That if you didn't have the internet and you didn't have any kind of help around you, how would you now navigate and figure out indicators that there's a tornado coming through or a severe thunderstorm? You've seen enough out there to see that the clouds are gathering. You see darkness over there coming towards you. You can test the wind direction. You have a flag to see which way the winds are coming from, the east, west, north, south. And you hear the winds coming through and they're coming stronger and stronger. Maybe you should go to your basement. And you don't need to have someone telling you, go to your basement, go do this, go do that. Okay? Or pay attention to the weather maps. Assume that every single storm now that's a severe thunderstorm it's going to be some kind of tornado condition. All right, so slaves have to find someone to tell them what to do, how to do, where to go, what something means. Slaves absolutely have no impetus to do anything on their own. They ask for recommendations. Okay, when I'm looking for something like a phone, I don't ask for recommendations. I see what all the different phones are out there, different companies, telecom companies, which ones I had a bad experience with, which ones had a certain, I mean, I've tested them all. I've had Sprint, I've had AT&T or Singular Wireless. Did I have T-Mobile? No, I never had T-Mobile, but my husband did. I've never had Verizon until recently. I've had the Walmart flip phones or the Walmart phones, the disposable phones, and been through phone after phone with them and their throwaway plans. Then I got to Verizon. They have better phones, better plans. The phones last longer. They last longer than the Walmart bullshit. I've had Boost Mobile. There's Cricket Wireless. Oh my God, there's so many. And so you have to figure out what you can afford, what you've been through as far as phones. You analyze how much you're willing to spend. And if you're spending phones every year, buying a new phone every year or every couple of years, well, that's kind of crazy. I've had my phone, that last one I had for 3 or 4 years. Okay? And so what are you willing to spend as far as even data? And what are you going to use that phone for? Oh, but no, somebody tell me what phone I should use. Somebody recommend me a phone I should use. Well, first of all, what are you using it for? How much can you spend? What's your history with phones? Where do you live? I mean, what? You want someone to base... It's like, oh my God, that's a slave. A slave cannot fucking do their own research, figure out their own way in this world. They always have to ask somebody else how to do something, or they always have to ask for recommendations. That's a slave. And so people enslave themselves simply because they refuse to do anything on their own. It's always dependent upon somebody else to tell them how to do something, what to do, where to go, what something means. They can't even develop their own thought process of even developing a new meaning over something. Not even a new meaning, but understand the rules. Like climatologically, that's not a word. Like immunologically, that's a word. But climatologically, well, I'm actually now putting those two words together because climatologically and immunologically, the rules are being followed as far as the grammar. And yeah, we're dealing with climatological reset, which is basically the frequencies. So climatologically, immunologically, same thing. Cytokine storms, tornadoes, all the same stuff. If you understand the laws, you won't believe all the stories. If you understand the rules, you can develop a new path using the same foundation. And if you learn how to use Google and you learn how to and learn how to understand what it is that you can afford and not afford and what you're using your phones and that's the thing. That's the slave mentality, are people who just do not do shit on their own. And so, yeah, you enslave yourself. And you have no one to blame but your fucking self for why you are where you are, why you do what you do. And if you bitch about anything out there, then, okay, that's obvious. But if you're all about love, 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 and everything is so great, and kindred spirit, and everyone is so beautiful, and oh my God, then you're just like laying it on thick. You're just covering some shit. Well, of course, people have been traumatized so much that they had so much trauma and hatred and angst, and now they're all oxytocin until that runs out. And as they get older and they get depleted, they'll become bitter because there's no more of that oxytocin they can develop. Their body can't convert anymore their body, mind, spirit to oxytocin. At some point, you're going to have to face the demons you've been hiding behind. So that's why I just say on my Facebook, people say stuff on my Facebook that they'll counter what I'm saying. I'll give them my, and they do it respectfully. It's those that are like stupid about countering me that I'm like, okay, see you later. Like you can see the investment, you can see the hormones and the anger. But there's people who do counter me, but they are respectful and I'm not really too triggered by it because I know where they're coming from. And I like them as people. I like them as far as my Facebook friends. And I don't overstep my boundaries and they don't overstep. It's okay to have a discussion. It's when it becomes so hormonally driven and becomes insulting. Is where it breaks down. So anyways, that's my demonology. So I'm gonna watch this transmission to see if there are any orbs flew around, because I'm not paying attention. I just look around all over. I don't look directly into the camera all the time. So I will see if anything came out of that. But yeah, in Ohio, we'll be under some Torcon ratings of like 1, 2, and 9 or 10 or wherever. So that's it. But understand, disease is like demonology, and understand that who are the ones that can handle and justify what disease demons are good for society. It's called the justice system. It's not you as a religion. I mean, that's fine, you say your opinions, but as soon as you act upon them and start genociding people, and that means that it can be in body, mind, and spirit, then that's where you've crossed the line. But say whatever the fuck you want on Facebook, who cares, right? But you're showing your cards. All right, bye.